everyone. My name is Chris Forrester, and I'm a London-based technology journalist. Today, I'm delighted to be talking to Tim Shoulders, CEO at Grass Valley, and Luis Hernandez Jr., CEO at Black Dragon. Black Dragon earlier this year acquired Grass Valley from Belden. Gentlemen, hello.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
Lewis, now that the acquisition is finished and the ink is dry on the contract, how have your strategic plans worked out these last months? How are they coming together? And how does this play out operationally?
Yeah, well, Chris, it's really fun when you put together a plan and sit down with the team, and it's pretty clear you're like-minded, excited about the technology and the strategy, and then it comes together after the fact even better than you expected. And I think that's the case here. The team has really embraced the strategy that we had in mind with Grass Valley. They've even taken it further, which is not a surprise given how capable they were. So I think you're going to see, a continued focus on great service and following the brand that they built over the years, and a continued emphasis on solving the disruption that digitization has caused, allowing clients the choice between integrated solutions with hardware and increasingly more SaaS and cloud solutions that the company has embraced. And so we're really excited about what they've done so far, and very excited about the future and, of course, the investment.
Tim, much the same question to you. How does this work out operationally?
Yeah, look, Chris, I can speak for the Grass Valley team in saying we're very excited to have investors with us who know and care about this media community. And the Black Dragon team also has significant interest in the long-term success of the media technology market. I think it says a lot that they showed such determination to close the deal even in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. And that was really important to me, to show their commitment to the media community and broadcasters and media in general. Strategically, we identified back in 2018 at Grass Valley that utilization of cloud technology was really the path to unlock value in our diverse and broad media workflow knowledge, and also to provide economic value to our customers through more flexible pay-as-you-go type models. Meanwhile, Grass Valley is known for being dependable and trustworthy. So we've kept this strategy close to the vest, and we really sat on the marketing about our cloud technology until we had a customer on air this spring. So it's really important to us that we protect our reputation for reliability and dependability.
We'll come back and touch on some of those topics in a moment. Can I come back to Lewis? Lewis, you've made a big investment here, and it's appreciated by the market. And it's certainly, I know, appreciated by Grass Valley. But as Tim has suggested, the sentiment out there is not good at the moment. It's very tough. COVID has not made life easy and has created some nightmares. How does the industry look from your perspective?
Well, first of all, we're deeply embedded in the community. That's why we are so invested and care so much about it. So storytelling is a part of our social fabric. It's what connects us, it's what inspires us. It's how we share experiences. So we think long-term that's important socially, and also it's a great place to invest. As we all know, the digitization of how we live is impacting storytelling, and it's compressing the workflow. It's putting more pressure on efficiencies, and it's changing the economic model. So for many of our friends who I've known for maybe 25 years in the industry, as long as we've been part of media and media technology, are under tremendous pressure as the industry transitions to the new realities of remote workflows, digital workflows, and the changing economic models. And so we felt like, who better to step forward than a brand like Grass Valley? And so when we were putting down our bids to acquire the company, one of the things we really thought about which company is best suited to help this industry navigate forward, and the friends that we're so invested in and a part of the family that we grew up with. And so that's why we're pretty excited about Grass Valley. As you said, or as Tim mentioned, the COVID, pandemic hit right in the middle of the transaction. And so rather than abandoning the transaction like many investors have because there's so much uncertainty, we felt it was more critical to double down on an industry we cared about. And we just felt like Grass Valley was the ideal asset to help navigate forward. And like I said, we're pretty excited about the track that they're on so far. Like you said, we've put down hundreds of millions of dollars. This is an important investment for us. But one of the great things about us is we're evergreen fund. There's no time limit. We can invest for the long term. We're 100% owners of the company, so we can really partner with people for the long term. And it was pretty clear to us, this team has built a trusted reputation in the industry that we can build off for the long term.
Tim, Lewis is absolutely right. The challenges out there in many respects are playing to Grass Valley's very strengths. You've got these strengths in remote workflow. Tell me about the Grass Valley media universe and how that will play in the overall portfolio of products.
Yeah, sure, Chris. We launched a new concept this spring, the Grass Valley Media Universe. And the beauty of this concept is that it enables new business models, such as pay-as-you-go models that do not require upfront capital. So we're enabling our customers to experiment with new revenue models on their ends at a significant lower cost. And the GV Media Universe shares common services between applications, things like security and logging. This makes development more efficient. So it lowers the cost and time of integration and really improves our speed to market with new applications. And all of this allows us to lower operating costs for our customers and the risks to success. And I think this is a wonderful thing. We've been able to unify the customer experience through a common user interface, and the platform is designed for the cloud. And our holy grail here is to have a complete broadcast workflow from image capture all the way through delivery in the cloud. And we don't have all the answers to that complete portfolio. You know, for instance, there are comms and audio elements that will require robust partnerships, but we have a vehicle with the Grass Valley Alliance program that will get us there. So ultimately, what we're seeking to do with the Grass Valley Media Universe is to build a community of technology suppliers, system integrators, managed service providers, all with a common vision to operate on our platform and pass along the efficiencies created to our customers.
You know, as the product or service becomes digital and the consumption of that product or service, in this case, the media file becomes digital, it collapses the workflow and disrupts the economics. And we felt like Grass Valley was in the ideal position to solve this problem because they have the most comprehensive and most advanced platform in the industry. And we're very pleased to see how far along we're with the cloud. Now, why does this matter? Because when we go around to major media companies, they basically list a few issues. Content has exploded, and with it, competition for viewership. Consumption per asset has dropped because there's this explosion, and although consumption has also increased, it doesn't match the amount of choice and availability. So what does that mean for them? Bottom line is they need to improve yield per asset. How do you do that? That means consumption and revenue or profit per asset created. There's only two ways to do it: lower your cost or increase your revenue. And when we looked at that dynamic and that problem and thought, who's best to solve that problem, it was obvious that Grass Valley was in the ideal position. And we were so excited to hear of this thing they had quietly developed called Grass Valley Media Universe that I felt was the best solution I had seen in the market to solve this very issue, which was fundamental to navigating the digitization of this industry and the disruption, and lead us to where inevitably we're going to be, which is a much stronger media industry led by people like Grass Valley. So that's basically why we got so excited about partnering with Grass Valley and why we're excited about this Grass Valley Media Universe that they've created. Excuse me.
Lewis, is it that aspect of the business and the prospects for growth that excites you about Grass Valley?
Well, I'll tell you, Chris, it was, one of the pleasant surprises. There's always issues that come up when you're in the process of doing due diligence. We had a vision for the future of a cloud native technology platform. We have arguably some of the most recognizable technologists in the industry, from the former CTO of Al Jazeera, CTO of ZDF in Germany, some of the large Chinese, African, and of course across the US technology experts in the media who ran some of the largest media technology firms. And I'm saying that because it's not often that we're pleasantly surprised about the difference between what we had hoped we would build and what the company already had. And that was the case of AMP. We were, literally stunned that they not only shared a similar vision for the future, were much further along than we expected. And it was a cloud native application that was already running live. And so you can imagine our surprise and excitement, because it meant that they had already invested a substantial amount. We got to help them make it better and bring it to market, as opposed to convince them to build something that we would have to build from scratch. So it was one of the really exciting parts of our due diligence. The clients that are in POCs or live now were very excited and pleased with it. And so it was a big part of why, when COVID hit, we not only didn't get more conservative, we actually got more aggressive, because we thought the market would be moving towards a need for something like AMP. And we're really excited about it. And I can tell you the early adopters have just reported outstanding results so far on the platform. So it was something that really helped us push us through what would have been normally a severe setback with the COVID pandemic. Really helped convince us that we should move forward aggressively. And that's what we did.
Once again, Lewis's answer is very useful. But the pandemic has affected your clients. It's affected the whole industry. There must have been considerable pressure upon you, and therefore to solve their problems. How are you handling that, both internally and dealing with the questions and demands from your clients?
Yeah, Chris, thanks for giving me the opportunity to answer this question. We saw early on, as the pandemic began to unfold in Europe, that we needed to do something to make sure we stress the priority of the health and safety of our employees and our ability to service our customers. So in February, we developed a committee internally to navigate through the pandemic. And I'm proud that with the work of that committee and efforts all around Grass Valley, that our productivity didn't suffer, and we were able to maintain our manufacturing operations and continue to service our customer needs for support during that time. We had a number of programs we instituted where we gave free licenses that enabled remote working. And of course, we pivoted a lot of our service operation to helping support customers that were now working remotely. You know, I think in general, COVID has served as a challenge that removes some really old barriers to adopting new technologies. They say necessity is the mother of invention, and COVID really accelerated the adoption of some workflows that were coming anyway. I think it killed all the sacred cows. So, you know, at Grass Valley, we exist to create connections between stories and people, and we provide the technology that enables these stories to be created and told. And, you know, I think there are a number of byproducts here. One is you're going to see additional remote working that I think allows our customers to have more balanced lives, which I think will be a positive development. We also have an industry that's probably going to be more socially and environmentally responsible over time, with less transit of equipment as remote working gets deployed more frequently. And so as Grass Valley, because we touch so many parts of the broadcast and media workflow, it's going to be really important for us that we adapt our solutions to what our customers need and for these remote working situations. And that's what we've been doing over the last 6 months.
Tim, you didn't use the word software, but I know how important software is to you and the whole industry. You've mentioned the digital transition. This whole point, if you like, this greater use of software. How are you ensuring that it is a smooth transition for your major clients?
I think a lot of people do not yet realize that even in our hardware products, there are a substantial amount of software. So if you look at the number of research and development resources that we have devoted to software development, it exceeds the split of our revenue. And it's because we're developing software to run on the hardware. So we're very software focused, and our mission to build an end-to-end cloud workflow is really a software focused mission. But we still see need for hardware solutions for the foreseeable future. And even over the long term, there are areas that require that have image capture or require control surfaces like switcher and replay that will be effectively hardware solutions. So we're working closely with our customers on this transition, and we're going to move at their pace. Fortunately for us, our scale enables us to have a deliberately paced transition. We can support our legacy business while focusing our investment on breakthrough innovation.
Tim, one of the key products, one of the new products in your portfolio is the GV amp. Explain to us what it is and how it fits into the strategy.
Sure, Chris. Yeah, GV AMP is the cloud platform that's at the center of the Grass Valley media universe. And I believe that GV AMP is the future of media technology, and the future begins now. GV AMP, as I mentioned, is cloud-based. It's also cloud agnostic, so it can run in a public cloud of different flavors with different vendors, or it can run in a private cloud. It's a software as a service-based, pay-as-you-go approach to media technology. And as I mentioned previously, it's designed from the ground up for the cloud. Others have lifted and shifted their products into the cloud, but that's not what GVAMP does. We've used a Kubernetes design philosophy to create a modular microservices-driven environment. And GVAMP is continually evolving. Applications are released over time. It started this year as a multi-viewer and master control application. And in the near term, it's evolving to including things like cloud playout and media asset management. But ultimately, we expect to create a complete live production workflow from image capture all the way through distribution without ever coming down from the cloud. And so we're going to deploy our broad workflow expertise here to create a platform with critical mass that will serve as the base for a complete cloud workflow that includes even a series of external partners that help us complete that workflow. So I'm really excited about GVAMP and what it brings to the equation.
You know, we spent a lot of time in the industry. We talked to a lot of end users from the largest media organizations, sports live production houses in the world. As part of the due diligence, it's part of what led us to Grass Valley. Of course, we've known Grass Valley for a long time. And so pre-pandemic, you've already seen this explosion of content, but pressure on lower unit cost economics to produce the best content in the world at the lowest cost, and engaging with clients and allow you to meet the changing revenue requirements like ad insertion and product placement. And so things like AMP and Grass Valley Media Universe, we thought would be the perfect fit. Now, post-pandemic, you're seeing that accelerate fairly significantly as the cost pressures have intensified. And so I think at this upcoming Olympics and other live sporting events, the total cost per hour production will drop fairly dramatically. The amount of people per production will drop dramatically. And it's because this yield per asset problem. And so it was a big piece of what we focused on. You know, the market is coming towards us because of the changes in digitization and things like the pandemic. And we felt it was inevitable. And these tools are the perfect solution. And, you know, I sat in one of the meetings that they had with their GVX, their leadership council, pretty impressive people of the brightest minds in the industry. Everybody's recognizable. And it was really exciting to see them validate everything that Tim and his team had been working for here at Grass Valley. They're in a perfect situation to help this industry navigate forward.
Tim, a question for you, if I may. You've talked about recent events, and we know how important sports and live transmission is. But the Olympics were also a key part of this year. They've been put back to next year, hopefully to happen. Goodness knows when some of these cancelled events will take place. But with the Olympics and Olympics planning, how does this new normal affect Grass Valley and your clients? How do you see the impact of the cancellations and remote working affecting the Olympics for your clients?
Yeah, from Grass Valley's perspective, we've been a part of the International Broadcast Center at the Olympics for many years, and 2021 will be no different. I think the focus in 2021, it has quickly turned to enabling remote productions from the Olympics as our customers evaluate new operating paradigms themselves, largely as a result of social distancing requirements. For us, I think the big difference I see this year between earlier games is that huge advancements in IP since the last games will enable us to provide our customers with this type of flexibility, and they'll be able to manage their operations differently and be able to effectively social distance and experiment with new ways of capturing the games. We also have live production solutions that are going to contribute to a better viewer experience. Those would include the LDX 100, which has an IP connection directly out of the back of the camera, and full raster 4K processing. We have a switcher that will be available in time for the Olympics that also has full raster 4K processing and the types of formats of input output that our customers are used to. So a lot of those things are coming together just in time for the 2021 Olympics, and I think will be a big part of enabling our customers to operate with the new social distancing requirements in mind.
Do you see, Tim, more staff having to go to Tokyo to help out where perhaps your clients would not be sending quite so many staff next year with social distancing maybe still in place?
You know what? I really don't think there will be a measurable increase in the number of, say, Grass Valley staff at the events. One thing that's been amazing during the pandemic is we have been able to effectively do a lot of our support remotely, where we would fly employees to customers to resolve issues in the past. We found ways to get those things done via phone, via connecting over tools, video tools like Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So we've been able to get a lot done without being there in person. And I think because of the social distancing requirements and travel restrictions that may persist into next year, we'll likely have to do the same. But of course, if our customers need additional support from Grass Valley and protocols allow it, we'll be there.
Tim, you mentioned IP, and of course that's of key importance to you and your clients. It almost seems as if IP is the new normal. Is this a routine part of the conversations you're now having with clients?
Absolutely. It took some time to get to this point where adoption is rapid. And as you know, Grass Valley may not have been the very first in IP, but we were the first and led the market in an open standards IP approach with our commitment to AIMS. And as such, we're reaping the rewards right now, as I believe the pandemic has caused a shift in customers' interest from standard SDI workflows to IP workflows, because the IP workflows are the on-ramp to the cloud, and the IP workflows enable easier remote productions. So I think we hit our stride at the perfect time on the IP side. And the availability of 2110 and a few years passing of deployments has given the industry more confidence, particularly around interoperability. For Grass Valley, our IP deployments are accelerating despite the pandemic. We have over 100 IP integrations globally. And we've also done recently significant developments around the control plane specifically to address needs in the mobile and OB truck market. And this has resulted in commercial success, particularly in the Americas. You know, doing remote workflows in SDI are hard. And with use of IP, the internet can help enable these remote productions. And we're standing there at Grass Valley ready to deploy these solutions to our customers to help them.
Tim, a key question for me. Everyone talks about scaling up. Everyone has to have the ability to scale up their services. But what about scaling down? To what extent can your services be scaled down, for example, for local sports coverage, where it may just be a very small OB truck and 2 or 3 key workers? Is this possible?
Absolutely. We have a number of different solutions for IP networking that include large format switches that come from well-known brands, third-party brands in the industry, to smaller private labeled switches that serve as the backbone of the network. And our focus on GV Orbit, which is our control monitoring system, was to build a system that's really easy to use and functions really well for engineers in the field who are setting things up. So that ease of use story I think is really important for those smaller operations. And that'll continue to be a focus for us because we really do believe that IP is the on-ramp to the cloud and where the market's going. And we need to be able to provide solutions to all size and scale of operations that are IP-based.
That's a perfect segue to the next question I had in mind. How ready is Grass Valley for the changes in remote production? Perhaps those changes are accelerated by the pandemic. What's the impact and the formula for you going forward?
Yeah, we suspected that the pandemic would accelerate the move to remote productions permanently, but we're fortunate at Grass Valley to have surrounded ourselves with some of the best minds in the industry in our GVX Customer Council. And we've just recently had a survey out to those folks, and we had a meeting where we discussed these very topics, and they confirmed that the market has shifted permanently to some modes of remote production. So for Grass Valley, this is important because Grass Valley is essentially a live production business, and it includes a lot of mobile production and sports businesses that are close to our heart. So we're focused on developing more solutions for remote production, including these fully connected IP workflows for the live production market. One of the new innovations we have is with our LDX 100 camera, where we send an IP signal directly out of the camera without the need for a base station or accessories. So you need to send less equipment on site and probably fewer people to be able to operate the system. Our switchers have shown to operate effectively with the panel remote from the frame in several situations. Some of our colleagues in the UK have done some shows with the panel, significantly remote from the frame. I've seen lots of images of our Maverick panels set up in garages, putting on shows. So, and ultimately, look, GV AMP and the GV Media Universe is a game changer here. Our cloud journey started as a series of concepts on how we could enable more efficient remote productions by separating the image capture, the processing, the command and control. And we're going to see that development through completion. This fully distributed type of production, which we're already starting to roll out components of, will be the ultimate workflow efficiency that I think the industry is really yearning for.
So from very small, let's expand our horizon a little. Next year's Olympics will be 8K from NHK in Tokyo. To what extent is 8K beginning to play a part in your horizon? Who is talking about it? Do you have clients who are talking 8K?
Look, I absolutely love this industry, and one of the reasons I do is because of the focus on innovation and always pushing the envelope with technology. It's quite cool and exciting to be a part of that. In Grass Valley, a company like ours doesn't stick around for 20 years without leading in a lot of these innovations. So we have our eyes on 8K technology. I think it's a fantastic technology, particularly for an in-venue experience, where you've got a large format screen, or for something like a God camera, where you can break the 8K down into smaller frames of 1080p or something like that. And we see those applications as being applications that are likely to grow. But today, we're still helping customers with producing and delivering 4K and HDR. As a consumer, I can tell you my ability to get 4K and HDR content is relatively limited, particularly on the live side. So we have a lot of work to do with our customers to get viewers that type of technology. And, we'll continue to be doing that in the short term. But over the long term, I certainly see 8K as a part of the Grass Valley portfolio.
You're right. I hope to keep you to that promise. I certainly want to live long enough to be able to see 8K transmitted, God willing. But with hundreds, if not thousands of channels out there still transmitting in standard definition, let alone high def, you've got your work still cut out. Lewis, again, how does this impact how you see Grass Valley's future?
As most people know, what makes us different is all of us have been operators of small and large companies in the fields in which we invest. Certainly many of us and our 20 or so advisors have deep domain expertise in the media space. But what our role is really to help our teams with what's something we call the Black Dragon Toolkit. And essentially we share with them our views of the industry, how to create market leading companies, and then let them make it their own. We don't run the companies. If we wanted to run companies, we would. We don't. We partner with great entrepreneurs and leaders such as Tim Shoulders and his team. We make sure we agree with their approach to creating great companies and delivering great service. And then we let them do what they do best. And it was really born out of our own experiences. I was an operator myself, and great operators don't like to be told what to do by their investors. They want support, they want ideas, they want capital, and they want commitment to long-term building of a company. And so that's what we do. We share our ideas, we provide the capital, we share our networks to help this management team execute. What they do is they execute everything. They have the relationship with the customers, they build the products, they deliver, we cheer them on, we coach them and provide the capital as needed. So that's kind of the Black Dragon way. It's proven to be very successful, and we let those management teams do what they do best. And we do what we do best, is identify great companies to invest in and partner with the management team to let them do what they do best, which is serving these communities and building winning platforms.
Tim, Lewis, great answers. Thank you so much for this conversation and the opportunity to talk and to review where the industry is and also where Grass Valley fits into that scenery. A big thank you to you, and a big thank you to the technical team who've worked very hard to put this event together. Thanks, everyone.